What is this? Well, remember when I did that video on the Kimber Rapide and I said this? Kimber, when are you gonna stop playing with this? Just give us a double stack. That's all I'm gonna say. That's where I'm gonna leave it. Well, looks like they listened, because this is Kimber's new double stack 1911-ish. It's not a 2011, it's kind of a it's a double stack 1911. It has 15 rounds, and I think they're gonna be coming out with an 18 round capacity mag as well. And that's essentially what it is. It's a 1911 that's a double stack in 9mm. And I like it. So at the last NRA convention, I stopped by the Kimber booth and I was talking to the guys at Kimber, and they were telling me that they have something pretty cool coming out that they think I would really like. I kind of figured it was probably something double stack. I just didn't know what it was or what it looked like. And then a few months later, they got in contact with me and they said, hey, we're gonna send you something. Hope you like it. And that was this, KDS9c. So how does it look? Well, in short, it looks like a 1911, but then it kind of looks like a 2011. Then it kind of looks just like a regular hammer-fired gun, all at the same time. So it's kind of weird. No, actually, it just looks like a 1911 with a fat grip. But this gun is really handsome. It's handsome. It has these simple serrations in the front and in the back. They're not super deep, but they're not so shallow that they're useless. Then you kind of have this, they have the striations on top of the slide as well. And then you have this grip pattern that I don't know quite what to make of it, but I think it works. Then you also got this checkering in the front of the gun as well. And the gun just kind of comes together, and it's just a really kind of a classic, handsome looking firearm. It's not, oh, gushing with sexiness. It's just a very good looking gun. I gotta say, I can dig it.
Before you finish watching this video, I want to thank today's sponsor, American Hartford Gold, your one stop for investing in precious metals like gold, silver, and platinum. American Hartford Gold offers secure delivery and retirement account options with top ratings and endorsements. American Hartford Gold provides quality service and guaranteed customer satisfaction. American Hartford Gold wants you to trust them for education, transparency, and a hassle-free buyback process, and to invest with American Hartford Gold for a secure financial future in precious metals. There's a link in the description section if you want to learn more. All the ammo used in this video was brought to you by Nosler, maker of the most innovative, most accurate, and most effective bullets and ammunition in the industry.
You got the skeletonized trigger on it as well, which I absolutely love. I love skeletonized triggers. Now, I will say, I keep saying this about 1911s, and it's just me. It's a very subjective thing, but I don't like curved trigger guards. Something about them just makes them look anemic, or just kind of, yeah. So I just wish they would square it up and just give it a little bit more aggression. I like hard right angles. So for me, that's one knock I would give this gun. I wish it was just a square trigger guard and not this round oval nonsense. Other than that, I think the gun looks good, and I think it objectively looks good. I think people are gonna be hard pressed to say this gun is unattractive. It's definitely a very handsome gun. So how does it feel? Well, it feels like a double stack 1911. I will say initially when I first got it, because your eyes look at it and you see a 1911 more or less, when you do pick it up and you feel it, and you're used to kind of that slim, very lean kind of feel you get from most 1911s, this gun feels a little fatter, so it kind of throws your brain off a little bit. However, it is still very ergonomic because you have this beaver tail back here, and then you kind of have this little hump right here, so your hand naturally kind of glides into position, and it's easy to get a really good purchase on a gun, especially if you're going for the draw. So like if you're carrying it concealed and you go to get a grip on the gun, it's rather easy and very intuitive. So everything lines up just right. Like it points very naturally. Now, these aren't the most aggressive grips on the actual gun. They're kind of soft, and I think what they've done is they kind of erred on the side of being more comfortable for concealed carry versus giving you this super extensive, exhaustive grip that makes your hands bleed and gives you all the typical you get whenever you go lift weights at the gym. It's an unnecessary analogy, but I made it anyway. But I can see this maybe feeling a little too soft for some people's hands, just because some people just, I don't know, they're masochists. They just like being punished by their firearms. I'm one of those people. Don't know what that says about me. Probably a lot. I know where you're going with this. That's not where I'm going. Either way, it's a very great feeling gun from that standpoint. It's a very balanced gun, but more than anything, it's a very lightweight gun. You look at it and you expect it to be this massive, heavy chunk of mess, but it's actually really light because the frame is alloy and the slide is stainless steel, so that takes out a considerable amount of weight. On top of that, you got all these kind of like hidden weight savings. Of course, you got the striations in the slide, which take out some mass from the gun. And then you also have fluting in the barrel. This barrel is completely fluted, like from beginning to end, completely fluted. Like even look here, fluted. It's fluting all over this barrel. Now, visually, it looks great. It's actually really cool, actually. But there's also that benefit of making the gun lighter. If I was gonna compare it to a gun, gold standard, of course, would be the Glock 19. It basically feels just a tad heavier than a Glock 19. And from a size perspective, it's just ever so slightly a little bit longer than a Glock 19. Everything else is more or less Glock 19S size and shape and feel. Not shape, but feel and weight. But I gotta say, from an ergonomic standpoint, like I said, it points very naturally. I can't say I have any real complaints about it. So, how does it shoot? Well, pretty damn good. So, 1911s in general, whether they're chambered in 10mm, 45, 9mm, they shoot really well. This gun is no exception. It's a very flat shooting gun from the standpoint that whenever I shoot, it's right back on target. As long as I do my job from a grip perspective, it's right back on target. And I don't really have to put a death grip on the gun because the gun doesn't recoil. I mean, it's a 9mm in an alloy frame gun. It's not gonna jump that much. So it makes the shooting experience with this gun very, very pleasurable. And something that, and that's a good thing because this gun is designed to be kind of a concealed carry gun. And so from that perspective, you kind of want a concealed carry gun that you actually enjoy shooting because then otherwise you won't really shoot it and therefore you won't be as good with the gun as you probably should be. So having a concealed carry gun that you actually like to shoot is always a plus in my book. Now, let's talk about this trigger. From a trigger standpoint, I mean, at the end of the day, this is essentially a 1911. So I've come across very few 1911s that don't have at least a good trigger. This gun is no different. If I wanted to be pedantic about it, just overly critical, there's the most minute level of creep in the trigger under dry fire. Under live fire, I'm be incredibly hard pressed to actually realize it happening, if at all. And then to be honest, it feels like it's something that will start to smooth itself out even more the more I start to shoot this gun. And so from that perspective, it's a very good trigger. And one thing I love about the trigger, it's very easy to get back on the trigger under recoil for the reset. Instead of shooting the reset, but slacking out. Because as I pointed out, slack out is that little, that little space right there. You hit that wall. So that's that very nice definable wall that I like. And then from there, you just boom, back on it, boom, back on it, boom, back on it. No problems. So from a shooting standpoint, it's a classic 1911 chambered in 9mm shooting sensation, which is usually really good. So on the Kimber website, the trigger pounded weightage is about 3.5 to 4.5, whatever the hell that means. But if you make me tell it, it's somewhere closer to 3.5, 3.7, since I think I'm some type of trigger savant and I know exactly what it is based on how it feels. But honestly, I wouldn't want it any lighter than that, considering this is a concealed carry firearm. So I think where it is right now, I think it's pretty good. So what are the features? Well, it has all the features of a 1911 except for one. No grip safety. Now, I can hear all the kids in the back, all the cool kids are like, yay, no grip safety. You know, those guys who like to put rubber bands and tape their grip safeties down. I get it, I understand it. I don't like it, I don't do it. But I honestly would have liked the grip safety on this gun. That's just me. I like grip safeties. Of course, you have the obligatory frame-mounted safety on the gun. Then you have the skeletonized hammer with the beaver tail. And then there's these awesome sights. I like these sights, especially this rear sight because it's adjustable. Now, the front sight did have a green fiber optic sight on it. As you can see, it's not there anymore. Kind of lost it. It's gone. Beautiful thing is, fiber optic sights are really easy to replace. But yeah, so be mindful of that. Mine flew out, don't know where it is. It's somewhere on the ground somewhere. And then on top of that, you have the ability to put a red dot on here. As you can see, you have this removable plate that allows you to put a red dot in there for all of you fancy kids who like to put red dots on all of your carry guns. I'm one of those people. I used to not be, I am now. Now, then you also, of course, have the skeletonized trigger, which I think is more aesthetic than anything. I don't think you benefit anything from that. However, there is some serrations on the front of the trigger that gives you some texture and a reference point that I actually really, really like. And of course, you have this rounded trigger guard that I've already bemoaned, so we're not gonna stand on that. And then, of course, you have this slide lock as well. But other than that, I mean, it's a 1911. It has all of the features of a 1911, except for, like I said, the grip safety. Also, there is also no front rail. I'm almost positive they're gonna come out with a version that has a front rail, but this one doesn't have a front rail. So make of that what you will. So, the main question everybody wants to know, because most of the guns that are set up the way this is, the double stack 1911, they're not cheap. They're usually pretty expensive. This gun is going for $14.95. It's actually a pretty damn good price considering what you get from a quality standpoint. So you get an alloy frame gun with the stainless steel slide, all the features of a 1911 minus the grip safety, great shootability. You also have skeletonized trigger, the ability to mount a red dot on it. It does lack a rail up front, depending on how tactical you want to be with this thing. But by and large, MSRP of $14.95 for a gun like this. Other guns sitting in this category range anywhere from like $2,000 to like $4,000 or $5,000. So I think from a perspective of wanting a double stack 1911 style firearm for concealed carry, which is what this gun essentially is for, I think that price point, at least within the market today, I think is pretty damn fair. Street prices are probably a little bit cheaper than that, honestly. So what this gun and who is it for? Honestly, I think it's for somebody who is really dead set on carrying a 1911. And isn't afraid to carry a 1911 in 9mm, because a lot of guys who like carrying 1911s refuse to carry a 1911 that isn't chambered in 45. I guess I get it, but I think there is something to be said about the inherent shootability that you get with the gun, like a 1911 chambered in 9mm, that I think is incredibly advantageous. But I do understand those guys that like having only 2 rounds of 45 in their gun when it comes to concealed carry. Now, this gun doesn't carry exceedingly small, but neither does the Glock 19. And that's kind of how this gun carries. It kind of carries like a Glock 19. It's ever so slightly a little bit wider, ever so slightly a little bit longer in the barrel, but nonetheless, it kind of carries like a Glock 19. And that's kind of the gold standard for the most part in terms of your kind of mid to full size concealed carry guns. It probably will carry a lot thinner just because the actual slide is thinner than a Glock 19. So you do kind of lose that footprint, and I mean that in a good way when it comes to carrying this firearm. So if you're somebody who's a big Kimber fan, because I know there's a ton of people out there who are, or you're just somebody who wants to carry a 1911 and is not afraid to carry one that's not chambered in 45, I think it's only fair to kind of give the KDS9c a look, because considering its price point, considering the ergonomics, the quality, the feel, the looks, the capacity, the shootability, it's a damn good package there. Just saying.
Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, click that bell symbol. For products featured in this video, click the links in the description.